So in this series of videos on brand architecture, brand terminology, almost like a brand dictionary, I will take topics that sort of help you build a kind of a winning brand, right? A robust brand. And these are the concepts that when put together will take your brand to the next level. And in this video, I talk about brand belief. So what is brand belief? Brand belief occurs when customers believe in a brand so much that they stop comparing the brand with any other. They become brand ambassadors and hail the virtues of the brand and its products or services. They're usually price insensitive and buy new products as soon as they're released and at a higher price point. So what's happening here? Why do people believe in a brand to such an extent that they stop sort of comparing this brand with other brands, right? They become brand ambassadors. They simply buy any new product or service that comes out from this brand, and usually at a higher price point. What is happening there? Okay. Now, typically, brand belief occurs when customers feel that the brand is, the values of the brand or whatever the brand represents aligns with their core values, with their worldview, with their beliefs, with what they think represents them, with how they perceive themselves, with the kind of look and feel or the perception that they themselves give out to the world. If those two align, then they start believing in that brand, right? So that is brand belief. Now, brand belief can have different kinds of facets. It can have different kind of faces, so to speak. There could be brand belief where, like I said, it's based on core values. Because I believe in certain things, and I think that brand A or brand B or brand X also stands for similar things, then I align with it. I believe in that brand. Or it could be because a brand makes you feel certain way. It could make you feel happy. It could make you feel important, right? It could make you feel like you've achieved something. Or it manifests your achievement. So you've been working hard in life. You've been going through your life, amassing whatever it is. It could be reputation. It could be money. It could be position. And you believe that this brand actually communicates that achievement to the world. So it sort of broadcasts your success. That could be one way. And therefore you believe in that brand, right? Great examples can be Nike and Apple. For Nike, for example, believers, people who believe in the brand Nike, for example, would buy the latest kind of trainers, Air Max or Jordans or whatever comes out from Nike. And they might already have lots of trainers at home, some of them probably never worn, and yet they would go out and buy the latest or the next or the most recent kind of pair of trainers, pair of Nikes. Why do they do that? Number one, of course, it makes them feel good, right? It's like treating themselves. And number two, they believe in Nike. They believe that Nike represents kind of achievement, kind of going out there, conquering the world or conquering yourself. There's many layers that they would be sort of aligning themselves with Nike. And by buying this pair of trainers, they feel that those feelings, those emotions are manifesting, right? And same is the case with Apple. Well, these days, of course, kind of brand belief in Apple is sort of waning a little bit, right? It's diminishing slightly. And I believe that it's going to diminish even more. That's because lack of innovation and also inconsistent kind of pricing is causing this kind of rift between the brand believers and Apple. Now, of course, this could be turned around anytime. If the right kind of innovation comes through, then of course it goes back up. So how do you build this kind of brand belief? How do you create brand belief amongst your loyal customer base or target audience? Now, brand belief is not just for big brands. It's not just for Nike. It's not just for Apple. It is, and it can be for any brand, right? Any brand, because it's about building that kind of perception, and it starts on two fronts. First is, of course, having a robust brand strategy, and then having a robust messaging strategy. In the brand strategy, you set up your core values. You analyze your target audience. You identify your core and, of course, secondary and tertiary target audience and their worldviews. You understand that. And secondly, in the messaging strategy, you create messages that communicate those core values to your target audience. And when you do that, there is a consistency. The messaging is consistent. It is true, and it creates belief. Of course, your products or service have to back up whatever strategy you may have, right? You could have the best strategy, you could have the best messaging, and then if your product sucks, right? If it falls short, then it's not going to work. So let's assume that you're already working hard in creating the right kind of product with the right kind of innovation or the quality that your target audience expects. Then beyond that is where the strategy comes into play. So brand belief is difficult to create, but it can be done, and you should actually build it from the ground up. Think of the worldview of your target audience, not just about your product. Of course, yeah, you created a product because it solves a certain pain point in your target audience's lifestyle. Great. But also think of how they would perceive that pain point, not from your product perspective, but from their own perspective, right? That is very important. When you also perceive it from that point, then you can communicate effectively. Now, there is one word of caution. Brand belief can be easily destroyed when the target audience perceives that whatever they were aligning with, and this could be the core values. That means I have a certain set of values and I believe that brand X also stands for such values. When those things change, I will abandon that brand, right? So brand belief can be eroded, can be lost in the blink of an eye. And this usually happens online when brands sort of communicate or broadcast messages that really go against their original values, and maybe they're supporting a cause that does not sit well with your core audience, or it's an event, or you could be saying something that really rubs them the wrong way. And I'm not saying that as a brand you should be afraid and walk on eggshells. Your audience cannot hold you ransom, but can they? They do. I mean, that's what's happening in this world. The world is becoming more and more kind of a situation where brands can be held ransom by their audience. So you got to be careful what you're communicating online, on social media. Just make sure that you have a robust brand strategy, right? You have a guideline, you have a kind of a Bible kind of a thing, a brand Bible. And that should always dictate how you're communicating. So that is brand belief. And till my next video, take care.